Did you ever have something that happened in your life that you'd like to do over? Have a do-over? Something you're ashamed of and you wish it hadn't happened and you could go back and change it? I think we all have. And one of the first ones I had was when I was in the 8th grade. Now, I don't know what it's like to be in the 8th grade now, but when I was in the 8th grade, we studied poetry. Yes, we studied long poems. There were no short poems in this class. The 8th grade class, we did Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. We did Longfellow. In fact, we had a joke among the guys that he was called Longfellow because he couldn't write anything short. And we would have these and Mr. Dacus was our teacher. Mr. Dacus was a kind of a stocky fellow with dark hair, and he was a very by-the-book guy. And every Monday he would give us a new poem, and we'd have to learn it by Friday. And he asked for volunteers. If you could say the poem from memory, you would get extra credit. Now, I did this a couple of times. I was pretty good at this, especially these poems all kind of rhyme. You know, the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner was one. And I had volunteered, and I had done a couple very successfully. But when I got into the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, I got to the part where it says, water, water everywhere, and all the boards did shrink. Water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink. And my mind went blank. And I kind of ad-libbed. I said, birdie, birdie in the sky, why did you do that in my eye? Gee, I'm glad cows can't fly. I had the rhyme right, I had the cadence right. The class loved it. Mr. Dacus, not so much. He moved me from the back of the room to the front of the room. The back of the room is where the boys sat. The front of the room is where the girls sat. Now, this wasn't so bad because I got to sit next to Shirley. And Shirley was the prettiest girl in class. She had long black hair and beautiful eyes and a great smile, and I was just stuck on Shirley. And also at this table, though, was Lois. Now, as we say in the South, bless her heart, she was beauty challenged. Lois had red hair that she couldn't control and freckles, and she was skinny, and she was a little shy. In fact, she was a lot shy, and she never volunteered to say a poem. Now, I teased her terribly because I was trying to impress Shirley. And I said, Lois, if you learn this poem, I'll give you a kiss. I thought very highly of my kissing. And Lois just looked at me. And word got around the class that I had made this challenge for Lois. And Mr. Dacus found out about it. And Monday we get a poem. And it's Longfellow's Psalm of Life. It's long, but it rhymes. And I'm thinking, Lois can't learn this. Lois can't learn it by Friday. And so there's a buzz about it. And on Friday comes around, Mr. Dacus says, anybody volunteer to tell a story? And up goes Lois's hand. And there's kind of a gasp around the room. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to be good. And Lois gets up, and she's got on a sweater that's too big for her, and a plaid skirt, and her red hair is going this way and that way. And she says, tell me not, immortal numbers, life is but an empty dream. For the soul, dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. I said, oh no. Oh no. Life is real and life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Dust thou art, to dust return. Was not spoken of the soul. And I'm thinking to myself, oh no, she's learned this poem. She can make it all the way through. And she goes, and the audience, the kids are all looking, and there's a lot of tension in the room and excitement. And she gets all the way down to the end. Let us then be up and doing with a heart for any fate. Learn, still achieving, still pursuing. Learn to labor and to wait. And there's a cheer goes up. The class is excited. Lois has done this poem. And then everybody looks at me. Mr. Dacus looks at me. Mr. Dacus says, well, boy, are you going to kiss her? And I said, I wasn't thinking of Lois's feelings. I wasn't thinking of Lois. I was only thinking of myself, because my 13-year-old self, I was so important. I said, no. I was just kidding. I didn't really mean that. I didn't really mean it. I was just kidding. I don't want to kiss her. And Mr. Dacus has this long paddle, wooden paddle. To me, in my mind's eye, it seemed like it was a cricket racket that they used in Britain to play cricket. It was a long wooden paddle, and he says, boy, I got to teach you to keep your word. You either get 3 licks with this paddle, or you kiss her. What's it going to be? Now, if this happened today, Mr. Dacus would probably be fired, and Lois and I would be on social media, and our lives would be ruined. But this is the 1960s, and we're in a textile mill village, and everybody knows everybody. Mr. Dacus knows how far he can go with his discipline. And I'm thinking, well, okay, I'll take the paddle. Well, shocking. Nobody had ever been paddled in class before. He said, boy, bend over this chair. And I bent over, and I bent over. He says, are you ready? Whack! And I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to show any pain. I got defiant, you know. And then they did it again. He pulled back, whack! And I thought, oh my God, why am I doing this? One more time, whack! 3 licks. I go back to my seat, and I don't look at Lois, and I don't know how Lois felt at that moment. And I felt like, well, my back end hurt, but I didn't really think about her feelings. I had taken a paddle rather than kiss her. And we go on in the junior high school, and we go on into high school, and I don't see Lois much anymore. She goes to a different school finally. And years go by, and as I get older, I begin to think more about how bad it was that I did this. I really shouldn't have done it. And it kind of weighed on my mind a little bit, but I didn't dwell on it. Until we get to Facebook comes around. And in Facebook, you can look up people you went to high school with, people you went to grammar school with, all people from all parts of your life. And I'm looking at our high school and our junior high, and I'm thinking, I wonder if Lois is on there. I wonder if Lois is on there. I always felt bad about that, especially when anybody talked about corporal punishment in school. And so I looked her up, and sure enough, there's Lois, but she's beautiful. She's turned into a beautiful woman. She's successful. She's got children, and I could see her profile there. So I send her a friend request. Now, I don't want to go out right away and say, Lois, I'm sorry for what I did 40 years ago, but I want her to bring it up. So I kind of wait. 2 weeks go by, and one day she says, hey, do you remember when we were in the 8th grade and you wouldn't kiss me and you got paddled? And I said, yo, Lois, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. She says, that's all right. I didn't want to kiss you anyway. In fact, I thought you were kind of a jerk. But the reason I did it was so many people were talking about it, and so many people were involved in it, I wanted to show that I could do it. And when those kids in our room all cheered after I finished, well, that's a great feeling. I didn't even care what you did after that. That was a great thing for me. I'm thinking, well, Lois, I'm so glad it worked out for you. It's funny how life works out that way. And still, though, in the end, I would rather go back and not do it, because I'd rather be the good guy than the jerk.